Hey guys, and welcome back to Carl Copy's. Oh, I should not call it that. Welcome to Copying Content, where I take the latest and greatest trends on YouTube, and I'm about a year late to them, and I bring them to you in a way that would make Instagram Reels seem up to date. But it's got my twist and my humor, so you guys will still eat it up. Even if you've already seen this topic like 30 different times, because what does Carl think about it? Let's talk about Gen Alpha. You've probably seen this one particular video where it's a kid in like a Red Robin or something, and the parents just abandon him with the iPad, and he doesn't even notice that they're gone. And all I can say is that I was raised... Like, I'm 18. I don't count as a millennial Zoomer, nor do I count as a young, raised by technology Zoomer. But I was raised by technology. I had the best of both worlds. I had a Dreamcast, I had a VCR, I had, like, all the good shit, you know? I unwound the Titanic with my bare hands, and looking back on those memories of tape strewn across the floor, I cry at night. You know, like, if I was in this situation, I'd be like, Mom! 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 I would cry because I love my family. I have the situational awareness of a goldfish, but even if I sat there for 15 minutes not knowing where my family went, I still would have looked up, and instead of looking up like, yay, I can play Fortnite now, I would lose my fucking mind. And I'm gonna just say this right now. I think that Gen Alpha is going to have the worst parental relationships of any generation. Like, even worse than how we feel about boomers, okay? Like even worse than we feel. Like, this is fucking terrifying, because it's not that these parents are raising their kids with technology. That's not the problem. The problem is that these parents are not raising their kids. And the stance of a lot of YouTubers taking is, it seems to be that they seem to blame this partially on technology. And I'm not saying that's helping, okay? Like, it's a lot easier nowadays to get away with this shit, and for kids, like, you know, there was always, back in the olden days, you still had a couple of kids that were glued to their flute and couldn't stop writing down on their clay tablets, you know? Like, you had kids like Prometheus. Stop doing philosophy and come out and play with the other kids. No, mother, I'm busy talking about the life. The meaning of life, I need to find it! You know, like, there were nerds back then, too, and children, but, like, there were children that, you know, were problematic back then, too, but now it's a lot easier to have a problematic child, because your child doesn't need to be interested in a talent or have anything interesting about them. All they have to do is pick up a phone and play Subway Surfers while they're watching Family Guy. Or better yet, watch someone else play Subway Surfers while they watch Family Guy. And a 13-year-old should not be watching Family Guy! In terms of my exposure to technology, I would say that I was raised very similar to these kids. My technological literacy is insane. But the thing is, when I acted up, my parents didn't just hand me a phone and say, okay, I don't want to deal with you. They were like, hey, Carl, you're being a little shit. You need to stop. And what did I do? I stopped, and I grew up to respect my parents for the way they parented me, even though all of these Gen Alpha kids would call that shit abuse. Because God forbid they have to go without their fucking phone for 5 hours. Oh no, having your phone taken away. Oh no, do you want a cookie? Oh wait, no, you can't have the cookie because you have no Subway Surfers to watch it with. Kids these days are fucking retarded. And I saw this coming a long time ago because I was in high school, like my high school senior class. There were still kids that were reading like this. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous Declaration of the 13th United States of America. I'm not even joking. There were kids that read like that. in my high school class. So I am not surprised at all that there are kids that can't fucking read at 7th grade. It scares me. It genuinely scares me. But my high school, I cheated. I cheated all the fucking time. Course Hero, Quizlet, everything, I cheated. But when I cheated, I didn't just take the first thing that popped up and put it into my phone. My mom told me, if you're gonna look up the answers, make sure you know they're right. You know, she also told me all the answers are on the internet. So, thanks, Mom. But she taught me to use this matter in my brain. They're called neurons. I cheated, okay? I cheated. I didn't use AI to complete my schoolwork. I didn't use AI to write essays, but I cheated a lot. I looked up the answers on science quizzes. I used algebra calculators and shit, and you wanna know what's funny? I still learned. Why did I still learn? Because I had to think critically about the answers that I was giving. I thought. I used my fucking head. I used my head, though. I got good at crunching numbers because I couldn't just take a picture of the algebra thing. I had to copy and paste it, and I had to format it properly, so I still got good at dealing with those kinds of equations. I can still read an algebra equation. The only thing I can't do is long division, because that's the one thing that never stuck in my brain. And that's not because I cheated, that's just because I fucking hated long division. My point is, it's not the technology that is dooming this generation. That technology is not helping, especially when you give your kid an iPad on their first fucking birthday. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, seriously, we need to, like, implement a system where you have to, like, take a test before you're able to have a kid. And it doesn't have to be a difficult one to pass either. You just have to say, why do you want to have a child? What are you going to do if your child does X? What are you going to do if your child does Y? And your answers will determine whether or not you're allowed to have a child. Maybe an abusive parent will, like, lie on it, but hey, it would help a lot to detect emotional instability, because I would fail that. I've been against having children my entire life because birth is a terrifying thing. And I'm sitting here like, I'd do it. I would do it just so that I don't have... Just so I can do it right. Oh, I don't even know if I want to do that either, because if I do it right, my kid's gonna... Dad, why don't the kids want to play coloring with me? I've ruined your life. Your childhood is going to be so lonely, just like mine was. The righteous path is the loneliest. What does righteous mean? What is righteous nowadays? What's the point of it all when we know that everything we do will be twisted by greed and money? Money truly is the source of all evil, but communism can't work either, because even if a communist society worked perfectly, at some point the communist society would have to interact with the outside world, and if it interacts with the outside world, that gives an opportunity for a power vacuum to open up, because one of the people in the higher Congress has money now, and that is a bad... Say it with me, everybody! The parents are usually the ones to blame for these kinds of problems. And I'm sure there's a parent out there who's sitting there like, child, stop saying skibbity! What does skibbity mean? I just want to get my child off the iPad, but when I take away their media, they try and steal my phone! I'm sure there are some parents out here who are struggling just as much, but unfortunately, I have yet to find one of those on TikTok yet, and I am not ever going to touch that fucking app again. So, I'm excited for the future. Are you?